So this video is all about an interesting lottery winner story in 2020. I'm actually a Powerball winner, and I'm interviewing other lottery winners from all around the world. And I'm super excited to talk about how I believe the lottery can just be a very fascinating thing. It can be one of the most life-changing things that can happen to a person. It's also very rare, of course, but it does happen to somebody somewhere. Eventually, always wins. And there are some very interesting stories out there, so that's what this video is all about.
Are you listening?
This video is all about interesting lottery winner stories in 2020. And, I think there can be interesting lottery winner stories just about any year, but this video is being produced in 2020, and so hence I put that on the title, and that's what we're talking about. So my name is Timothy Schultz. I'm actually a Powerball winner. In 1999, I won the lottery before going back to college to study film, journalism, and broadcast news, and I'm now combining my experience in these things with my desire and my interest in meeting other people who have come into sudden wealth, as well as many other people that I find fascinating, and I'm interviewing them on this channel. So if you're new to this channel, do consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon to be notified when these interviews come out. And it's not just with lottery winners and people who have come into sudden wealth, it's just with people that I find fascinating, but that's one of the things I am doing on this channel, so do consider subscribing. But this video is all about interesting lottery winner stories in 2020. I have interviewed a few people on this channel now, and I am interviewing more. There are more interviews coming out, and some of these people are indeed lottery winners, other lottery winners, because it's such a rare thing. I just find it so interesting and intriguing to meet other people who have come across sudden wealth, because it is one of the most rare things that can happen to a person. And although I think every winner's story is different, I think there are also many parallels with things such as, what does it feel like to be at a press conference bombarded with cameras and reporters, and maybe you're not used to that sort of thing, and people are peppering you with questions and lights everywhere, and you're holding a giant check. That is just one example out of many things that many lottery winners face that I find very fulfilling to meet and talk to someone else about their experience, because I know what it was like for me, and so I'm very curious what it's like for other people. But, one thing that's very interesting about when people win the lottery is what they do with it. And I mean, that's mostly what the media focuses on, I think, these days. What do they buy? What do they do with it? Are they into philanthropy? Are they into helping others? Are they into taking grand vacations? Or maybe they bought the latest fill in the blank, the latest, greatest toy that's out there. Maybe they have purchased a giant mansion. Or maybe they're just not into material possessions and they don't really buy much at all. And even that's sort of interesting. And I just find every person's story very interesting. But it goes way beyond, what I find intriguing goes way beyond what someone spends the money on. I think that just scratches the surface, because it can really impact someone's life much, much greater than simply monetarily. Monetarily is a big deal, but it also can change relationships, and it can open a lot of doors. And I think one interesting thing about lottery winners, not for every winner, but for a lot of them, it seems as if their personalities are magnified. So if they're really into buying houses, if they're really into cars, if they're really into the church, whatever they're into, just because they win the lottery doesn't mean their personality is going to be different. It's just that they can do things on a larger level, perhaps. So it's as if their personality is sort of magnified. So I find that very interesting. And I'm asking other lottery winners about this because I do find it interesting. And for me, I was really into film and journalism. Like my whole life, I've really been into that, like way before since about the age of 4 years old, I've been doing that type of thing. And so it's no different when I won the lottery. It's just that, I was able to perhaps pay for college a little easier than I would have been. But I still would have gone for some sort of similar field just because that's what I was into. And it also, I think, varies, how much you win. If you win hundreds of millions of dollars, it's quite different than if you win, a few $100,000. Although a few $100,000, even a few $100,000 can be a life-changing thing. So winning the lottery can be really, really awesome. And it can change life for the better and in some cases for the worse. Most people that I've interviewed on this channel, it's been very positive. Their experiences have been very positive. But that doesn't happen to everybody. There can be negative consequences as well. And I think for the average person, there's probably something in between, because like most things in life, it's not black and white. And, I think oftentimes in our media, we like to think of things as it's a blessing or it's a curse. It's this horrible thing. It's going to ruin their life. They're going to go broke in 5 years. All these awful things are going to happen to them. Or, they're doing wonderful, wonderful things, and it's just this incredible thing. But the truth is, I think it really depends on a lot of factors, such as who the person is, how much they won, where they live, who surrounds them. All these factors come into play with how it affects their life. Most of the people I've interviewed, it has been positive, but I know that is not the case for everyone. And even for myself, I've had relationships that have been ruined after I won the lottery. And I'm not going to say it's just because I won the lottery, but it directly had to do with winning the lottery and people asking for money and conflicts arising. And so I've experienced firsthand how it can destroy relationships. A few of the closest relationships to me were damaged and in some cases ruined. And I chalk it up to being a life lesson. I don't regret anything. I think there's more to it than merely something that happened. I think of something as being a life lesson, perhaps even a spiritual lessons, not only for myself but for other people as well. It's really taught me a lot of things, and I think I should probably make a video about what it has taught me, because I could talk for quite a while about that. But this video is all about interesting stories about the lottery in 2020. There are certain times I have been flooded with pleas, emails, letters. I have stacks of letters from people that have asked for money. And if I helped just a small percentage of all the people that I felt sorry for that have ever asked me for money, I would have went broke like almost immediately. And I don't think this happens to every single lottery winner. I really don't. But I know that it happens to other people. I know I'm not the only one. And so, how you handle that is interesting. And I think whether you win the lottery or whether you don't, you need to live within a budget. It's very important to live within a budget if you want to be responsible and keep anything, Not that I'm like perfect but that's one thing that is definitively true. And that goes even if you have hundreds of millions of dollars, which I don't. But if I did, I would still live within a budget, because I know that if I didn't, I could be in trouble very quickly. And I know stories of other people that have. Look at the pro athletes and some of the celebrities, and yes, some of the lottery winners that have gotten into financial trouble after coming across like hundreds of millions of dollars. It is easy to do. It can happen. So I just think it's important to be responsible. But as far as stories, lottery winner stories, I don't think, for me, it hasn't been a blessing or a curse. I think it's mostly been a positive thing for me personally. There have been some negative things with some relationships being damaged. And without throwing anybody directly under the bus, with them not here to defend themselves, I'm not going to name any names, but, some of the closest relationships to me were damaged. And, I think that some people view it as getting something for nothing rather than earning it. And therefore, because they're struggling financially, I should help them out because we're connected in some way. Luckily, most people in my life don't feel that way, but a couple people who formerly were very close did. And I did help them to the extent that I felt that I could, but if I kept doing that, I would be in trouble very quickly. And then I found that the more you give, the more they ask, and then they come back, and it goes on and on and on. It's this perpetual cycle that can become very, very unhealthy, because just because you win the lottery doesn't mean you're a bank. And I can't tell you how many people have come to ask me for loans over the years as well, loans. But I'm not a bank, and I don't give loans. So those are some of the negative aspects, a couple of the negative things for me personally since winning the lottery. But also there are many positive things. It's opened many doors. I've met quite a few people that I wouldn't have met if I hadn't won the lottery. So it's opened a lot of doors as well. It hasn't just been negative, it has been positive as well. And I feel very, very grateful. Even feel grateful for the negative things, because I feel like it's taught me things about humanity and other people and the true nature of some of the people that were around me. It's taught me that. So I feel very, very grateful. And so I think winning the lottery can be a double-edged sword. I don't think that it necessarily is for everybody. For some people, it's more negative than positive, and for other people, it's way more positive than negative. And so I just find that very interesting. I do ask people about that I interview, because I want to know the truth. I want to know the truth. Another really interesting aspect of winning the lottery that I find fascinating is this notion of fate versus law of attraction, meaning that you create the win in your mind with your energy, or whether it's meant to be with fate, or whether it's just mere coincidence and luck, because there are many people out there that believe in the law of attraction, that we can cause a lottery win, and other people that believe that God or fate can cause a lottery win, and then other people that are completely skeptical, that think it's just dumb, mere luck, that if you play, then maybe if you get extremely lucky, you might win. But one reason why this really fascinates me is because I had a very vivid dream prior to winning. A few months prior to winning, I had a very vivid dream that I was going to win. It's not the only dream in my life that I've had that has come true, but it's one of the ones that I find very intriguing, because I did dream about it and then it happened. And some people tell me that it's fate, and other people tell me because I had the dream, I believed it would happen, and therefore my energy, the law of attraction, somehow created this. And then other people think, you just had the dream, so that's what inspired you to play, and you purchased a ticket and you just got extremely lucky and it's just a coincidence. Or maybe it inspired you to play and then you just got lucky. And I'm not claiming to know the answer, but I find these things very, very interesting. And so I'm interviewing other people about this, not only other lottery winners about this type of thing, about their thoughts about it, because I do find that interesting too. Did you know there's actually other lottery winners that have dreamed about winning before they've won? There's actually quite a few out there. Some people have even dreamt the numbers, and then they went out and played those numbers and they've won. Like, it happens to people. And it's very, very interesting, and I'm really, really excited to interview other people that have dreamt about it. And I'm inviting others that have dreamt about it, and hopefully we'll get someone on this show soon. But I just find it very, very interesting. But one of the other things I'm doing on this channel is interviewing experts and scientists and people that really have some definitive opinions backed up by science and facts when it comes to this type of thing: law of attraction, fate, the mind, time, our sense of time, and that sort of thing, because I find it very fascinating and very interesting for many reasons. So that's one of the things I am doing on this channel. So if you are new, do consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon. But it's just one thing that I find very interesting with these lottery winner stories, because there are other people, quite a few people actually, who have either believed that they created it through the law of attraction, or that had some strange experiences before it happened, including dreams. Some people dream that they win the lottery and then they win the lottery, and that happened to me. And so I find it's a very fascinating phenomenon. So I think it's really interesting that I'm not the only person. And so I find it very interesting to be interviewing other people about this. And every other winner that I do interview, I ask them about this. And not everyone has had strange experiences prior to winning. Some people have not. And some people just think, oh, it's just dumb luck. But I find it interesting. So that's one of the things I'm doing on this channel. But there are endless other types of interesting stories in the way that it affects winners. And I interviewed one woman recently, Denise Harvey. She was another Powerball winner. And she actually did have some strange experiences happen before she won that led her to believe that something big was going to happen. And I interviewed another lottery winner, Lana McKenzie, and we had a very interesting conversation about the prospect of the law of attraction creating these types of things. So I'll put a link to both of those videos below. But winning the lottery is one of the most rare, and can be at least one of the most life-altering things that can happen to a person. But it is so rare. You have a better chance of being killed by a vending machine or by a falling coconut. So watch out for those coconuts because you have a better chance of being killed by a falling coconut. But that doesn't mean that you can't win because somebody somewhere always wins. Never spend more than you can afford to lose, of course, because the odds are horrendous. They're horrible. But somebody eventually always wins, and I'm so excited to be meeting these people and interviewing these people to see how their stories correlate, how they're the same or different to my own. It's fascinating to see how it's changing lives because it can change relationships. It can change your ability to do things on a larger level, but can also change relationships and so many other things in life. It can save lives. You can help others. You know, another interesting thing that can affect some people, it affected me. It hasn't affected too many people that I've interviewed so far, but I know that it does affect some other winners and people that have come into sudden wealth. It's sudden wealth syndrome. And it's the stress that's brought on by winning a major jackpot. And that is a stress that I know many people would like to feel. So I'm not saying it's this horrible, horrible thing, but it is something that's real that I believe that I experienced. I'll put a link to a video I did about sudden wealth syndrome below, but one of the symptoms is even guilt for having won, because you can't help everyone in the world you feel sorry for. You really can't. And if you did, no matter how much you have, you'd be broke very quickly because there's too much disparity in the world. And so that's one of the more negative aspects of it. But there are very positive things as well that can be done. You can really do positive things. You can help other people. Use it to spend time with people that you care about, to pursue your passions. You can, it doesn't have to ruin lives. It can be a very, very positive thing. But I find it very interesting and intriguing how it is changing lives, because it can turn life on its head. But winning the lottery can be one of the craziest things that can possibly happen to a person. If you play the lottery just by holding a ticket, you are placing yourself in a lightning field with a chance, however slim, of hitting the big one. It could happen. It can happen to you. It can happen to anybody. The lottery god has no discrimination, and if you happen to win, I hope that you come and remember me and let me interview you, because it is really, really interesting. And it's intriguing how people spend the money. It's intriguing how it changes lives. It's intriguing what they do with it. It's intriguing what they believe spiritually or energetically, or whether it's just fate versus coincidence, and whether people come out of the woodwork, whether it's a positive or negative thing. It's really, really interesting. So anyway, if you like this video, go ahead and hit the like button, and let me know in the comments who else would you like me to interview, which other lottery winners, or people, it doesn't even have to be lottery winners, but who would you like to see me interview on this channel? Let me know in the comments below. I love checking out your comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and thank you for your support.